Letter, March 4th, 2019. Tony LaFountain, Penfield Town Supervisor. Linda Cole, Councilwoman. Paula Metzler, Councilwoman. Andy Moore, Councilman. Rob Quinn, Councilman. Geriatric fascist stooge John P. Lomenzo Jr. empowered pedophile Daniel DeLaus III. Geriatric fascist stooge John P. Lomenzo Jr. released DeLaus after he was arrested for offering candy to two children playing on Armitel Luster because of witness statements from people encountering his vile existence. Geriatric fascist stooge John P. Lomenzo Jr. identifies with a sexual predator. Geriatric fascist stooge John P. Lomenzo Jr. places every child in Penfield at risk of a despicable crime. Geriatric fascist stooge John P. Lomenzo Jr. has complete contempt for the safety of the most innocent and vulnerable in Penfield. Geriatric fascist stooge John P. Lomenzo Jr. exists in Penfield Town Court to create a nightmare of pain and suffering for every mother, child, and guardian in Penfield. Geriatric fascist stooge John P. Lomenzo Jr. is paid a nauseating $34,723 in taxpayer dollars to unleash a sexual predator and pedophile in Penfield. Geriatric fascist stooge John P. Lomenzo Jr. believes guilt is innocence and innocence is guilt. Geriatric fascist stooge John P. Lomenzo Jr. must be removed immediately from Penfield Town Court by you. Christopher Chichester, 26 Sanders Farm Drive, Penfield, New York. Letter, April 2nd, 2019. Tony LaFountain, Penfield Town Supervisor. Linda Cole, Councilwoman. Paula Metzler, Councilwoman. Andy Moore, Councilman. Rob Quinn, Councilman. I now know that this geriatric fascist stooge, John P. Lomenzo Jr., unable to identify the century he lives in, takes home $34,728 in taxpayer dollars to abridge my civil and constitutional rights. Lomenzo refused to respond to my Freedom of Information Law documents demanding his salary because he knows the public reaction to depositing $34,728 into his bank account for less than 10 hours a week in Penfield Town Court. Junior Lomenzo's salaries from the 2019 Town of Penfield adopted budget. Councilwoman Paula Metzler emailed me the budget. She's an individual who understands a public official has a responsibility to disclose the expenditure of taxpayer dollars. This is a Democrat and Chronicle story by David Andriata on Junior Lomenzo. He enabled sexual predator Daniel DeLaus III. The details are nauseating. I fail to understand how this appalling human being sits in judgment of anyone here in Penfield, New York. The details of my case before Junior Lomenzo and his fellow fascist stooge, James Mully Jr., are in the attached documents. Junior Mully is paid $29,995. You are paying two corrupt and incompetent individuals $64,723 to assault the constitutional and civil rights of an innocent man. Congratulations. I will send this document in the attachments to every writer and reporter, Democrat and Chronicle, WHEC, WHAM, and WROC. I'll explain how Junior Lomenzo thinks. Every thought he has is wrong, so the opposite is right. This is the George Costanza of Penfield Town Court. John Lomenzo Jr. and James Mully Jr. must be removed immediately from Penfield Town Court and sent to forced retirement to do paint-by-number and jigsaw puzzles that have nothing to do with identifying the truth and justice. $64,723 is paid for these two incompetents. Democrat and Chronicle story, August 2nd, 2016. By David Andriata. Andriata, Penfield judge rejected DeLaus case. Monday wasn't the first time Daniel DeLaus III was arrested for allegedly attempting to lure children into his car in Penfield. The first time was July 21, just hours after he was said to have offered candy to two children playing outside residences on Armitel Luster from inside his white Jeep. DeLaus was taken into custody that night after Malmore County Sheriff's deputies collected statements from children and parents who claimed to have encountered him and procured footage from a home security camera that showed his Jeep circling the neighborhood. He was taken to Penfield Town Court for arraignment too. But when DeLaus was presented to Judge John Lomenzo, the judge refused to arraign him. Quote, the papers they presented were effective, end quote, Lomenzo said in a phone interview Tuesday. Quote, they identified the car by license plate, but they didn't identify who was driving the car. From my standpoint, it could have been the man in the moon, end quote. Deputies had no choice but to let DeLaus go. That left Marie Cortez, the mother of one of the children allegedly approached by DeLouse, and the person who first called police with no choice but to keep her child mostly indoors. A social media campaign warning of a man in a white Jeep went viral, and parts of Penfield were plastered with flyers depicting photos of the Jeep. The anxiety lasted 11 days until DeLouse was arrested and arraigned Monday in East Rochester Town Court on misdemeanor child endangerment and stalking charges, and orders of protection were issued for the children. The delay in venue of DeLouse's court proceeding has prompted questions from Cortez and other residents from her in the neighborhood. Among them, why did it take so long to get DeLouse to court and to get protection orders? Why did this matter end up in East Rochester? Quote, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I have to live worrying about this, end quote, Cortez said. Am I reaching with these questions, end quote? No. Any parent whose child was approached by a strange man offering candy is entitled to ask us questions, and they are all the more pertinent given the pedigree of the suspect. Daniel DeLouse Jr., the suspect's father, is an influential man in Monroe County. If you don't know who he is, chances are his work has touched your life. A lawyer by profession, DeLouse was a key advisor to County Executive Maggie Brooks, first as county attorney and later as deputy county executive. Today, he is the general counsel for the region's public transit agency, and he shares the zoning board in Penfield, where he lives with his wife and 3 children, including 20-year-old Daniel. DeLouse moves in the tight-knit Republican circles that run the county and most of the towns. It's hard to imagine that he's not rubbed elbows over the years with Penfield's town justices who ran for the court as Republicans. That does not automatically disqualify the court from handling the DeLouse case, although one of the justices, James Mulley, has refused to recuse himself. Nor should it imply anything untoward the case thus far, but does allow for these questions Cortez and others are asking, because it's rare for a judge to refuse arraignment, which is a formal reading of the charges facing a defendant. Quote, I agree, it's very unusual, end quote, Lomenzo said. But it's my job as a judge simply not to rubber the police or prosecutors bring me. Reached by phone, DeLouse Jr. declined to discuss his son's criminal charges and hung up. Corporal John Helfer, a spokesman for the sheriff's office, said deputies thought they had a strong enough case against DeLouse to arrest him on July 21. They had physical descriptions of the suspect, a male with brown hair in his early 20s, and had traced his car. After the case was refused, though, investigators got to work solidifying the identifications of the driver. That work included asking witnesses to choose the man they believed they encountered from photos from the sheriff's office had on file. The witnesses fingered DeLouse. Helfer said DeLouse was arrested and arraigned in East Rochester on Monday because the court there was in session and it had a reciprocal agreement with Penfield Town Court to handle cases when the other was closed. The case has since been returned to Penfield, and DeLouse is scheduled to appear at 11 a.m. August 10th before Lomenzo. Lomenzo said he knows DeLouse Jr., but that he had no reason to recuse himself. Quote, I won't because, frankly, I don't have any relationship with Dan DeLouse, end quote, he said. It's a legitimate question to ask, Lomenzo said. I'm not troubled by the fact that people might be concerned. Cortez was almost apologetic in asking about such matters and said, quote, I just want to make sure that everybody's being above board. She has every right to want to know that and every right to expect it. David Adriano is a Democrat and Chronicle columnist. This man, John Lomenzo Jr., knows the family of Daniel DeLouse, and he's obviously not recusing himself from the case. It's a conflict of interest. I had appeared before John Lomenzo Jr., and the details of that are a disgusting descent on my life. I go to PW Fitness at the now defunct gym here in Penfield. I'm back in the gym. I'm doing 3 sets of 10 on the bench press. I finish the second set, and Jermaine Benman walks up to me. And he's identified at the gym because he goes berserk at the gym. He doesn't grunt. He screams when he uses the weights. So I'm about to continue the third set of 10. I'm about to lean over, and Jermaine Benman goes like this with his finger. And I'm not getting off the bench press because I never allow the gym psychopath to tell me what to do with the gym. So I say to Benman, I'll be 30 seconds. And I lean back like this, and I'm continuing the exercise because I'm already on the bench press. Benman doesn't want to wait, and he stands over me. I don't know why he's standing over me. I look up like this, and through his gym shorts, I can see the outline of his small penis. So I'm looking at the small penis for Jermaine Benman. And as I'm about to rise up and get closer to his small penis, he punches down violently like this. My head snaps back. My hand prevents me from landing on the floor. So this is an assault. So I tell my friends and family members, I know I can take a punch like a Muhammad Ali against George Foreman against Joshua Zaire. So a witness calls the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and Deputy Andrew Reale arrives. And I go outside with Benman and Reale. And Andrew Reale tells me to wait in his sheriff's vehicle. And I'm in the back seat. And I think it's bizarre that I'm in the back seat. So I'm sitting in the back seat of Andrew Reale's sheriff's vehicle after this violent thug, Jermaine Benman, attacked me at the gym. And I was going to respond to Benman with my own violence by introducing my foot to his balls, but that would have made me just as violent as him, and I don't believe in violence. So I'm sitting in the back seat of Andrew Reale's sheriff's vehicle, and I'm looking at Andrew Reale talk to Jermaine Benman. And Reale walks over to the side of the vehicle, and Jermaine Benman says to me, as I'm sitting in the sheriff's vehicle for Andrew Reale, quote, "I want to press charges against you," end quote. And then he walks Benman away from the vehicle. And he continues to talk to Benman in this ends, and then I exit the vehicle, and Andrew Reale of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office hands me a ticket that says harassment second. That is how I am charged with harassment second by Andrew Reale. I have this ticket, and I've shown it here previously. And I look at this ticket with my name on it and the phrase, the charge, harassment second. And I have to control what I think and feel looking at that piece of paper, because every person in my life, every family member, every friend, everyone who's ever known me will know that I've never harassed anyone in my life. And it's not who I am. It's not in my character. It's not in how I differentiate right and wrong and truth and justice. It's just not who I am. So I'm looking at this ticket as I walk home, and I'm astounded at this incompetence and corruption from Andrew Reale. So that's how I'm charged with harassment second, sitting in the back of Andrew Reale's vehicle. And I have to go to Penfield Town Court. And when I appear in Penfield Town Court, I stand in front of John Lomenzo, the man who releases this sexual predator, Daniel DeLouse III, in Penfield, and he doesn't recuse himself from the case because he knows Daniel DeLouse II in the family. And I look over at the prosecutor, and she says nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not one word. My understanding of court is that the prosecutor makes an argument against the accused, against the defendant. And the reason why this woman from Sandra Dorley's disgusting, vile, corrupt Monroe County District Attorney's Office says nothing, because I'm not guilty of any crime. She can't make an argument. How do you make an argument for the charge that I'm sitting in the backseat of Andrew Reale's police vehicle, and that's how I'm charged? So this proceeding takes less than 5 minutes. And I walk in to the back of Penfield Town Court, and waiting for me is Andrew Reale. And he says, "Put your hands behind your back," and he put the handcuffs on me. And I'm taken to Monroe County Jail as an innocent man. And Jermaine Benman is a violent thug. And what happens is that John P. Lomenzo Jr. decides that he wants to humiliate me. And the device he's going to use for this humiliation is the order of protection. And John P. Lomenzo Jr. writes an order of protection for me to stay away from Jermaine L. Benman and from the home, school, business, and place of employment of Jermaine L. Benman. Refrain from communication or any other contact by mail, telephone, email, voicemail, or other electronic means, or by any other means with Jermaine L. Benman, directly or through any person. Refrain from assault, stalking, harassment, aggravated harassment, menacing, reckless endangerment, strangulation, criminal obstruction of breathing or circulation, disorderly conduct, criminal misuse, sexual abuse, sexual misconduct, forcible touching, intimidation, threats, or any other criminal offense or interference with Jermaine L. Benman, the victim of the alleged offense. And there it is. That is an order of protection signed by John P. Lomenzo Jr. for me to avoid this violent thug, Jermaine L. Benman. And I'm in Penfield Town Court, and you can see right there it says defendant refused to sign. There it is right there. Defendant refused to sign. And when I'm in Penfield Town Court, the court employee says if you don't sign, then they're going to bring additional charges against you for failure to comply with a court order or words like that. And I said, go ahead, because I'm not signing that document. This is what they're doing to me here in Penfield, New York. Is this justice? Is this the truth? Do I live in the United States of America?